at rapid fire pace, so hang on to your seats. We're going to go crazy here. The first speaker is going to be introduced by Mike Rogers. Come on up, Mike.
Thank you, Diane, and as always, thank you, Diane, for all the organizing work that goes into these things. There are many folks that are involved in organizing, but you can usually find Diane hard at work making it all come together. It gives me great pleasure, folks, to introduce someone who is well known in conservative circles, has a PhD in constitutional history, something the president can't come close to, the one person you can count on to read and analyze those overweight bills that Congress is so fond of, and the author of many books, including several on the ever-evolving disaster, which is Obamacare. I give you folks the Liberty Bell, Dr. Betsy McCaughey.
To be here today. See many good friends here in the audience. But I'm also very honored to be here today with individuals and organizations like the John Birch Society that have fought unrelentingly for freedom many decades. It's really quite thrilling. And there are many speakers here who have also stood up for freedom. Particularly exciting to share the program with Congressman Steve King. He may be representing Iowa, but he's fighting for all of us. That's right. And it was 240 years ago today that American patriots grabbed their arms and headed into battle at Lexington and Concord, fighting for freedom and against kingly oppression. It was the beginning of the noblest experience in all of human history, government by choice. On the opening page of Federalist 1, Alexander Hamilton wrote, "It has been reserved to the people of the United States to decide the important question whether societies of men are capable of establishing good government from reflection and choice rather than forever succumbing to accident and force." Well, the founders proved that such a good government can be established. Now we must prove it can endure.
Yeah, right.
That's right. You will play a key role in deciding who is the next president of the United States. And I would urge you to choose a president who will rein in the government spending, a president who will fully, totally, unequivocally repeal this Obamacare law. A president who will restore American leadership in the world. And most importantly, a president who will defend this, the finest document ever created by mankind, the United States Constitution. Right now in our country, we have two major political parties, the Republican Party and the Banana Republic Party, formerly known as the Democrats. Our lawless president, a Democrat, changes laws at will, whether it's Obamacare, environmental law, immigration law, he changes them with his pen and his phone. If we permit him to do this, future presidents can also grab power away from the people. That's what we fought against 240 years ago. But this problem is bigger than one lawless man. Democratic officials, virtually half the political establishment in this country, watch as he grabs power and defies the law. They watch and even applaud, saying things like, well, he's getting things done. That's what they say. This is the longest enduring constitution in history, the longest lasting in history. We must demand that the Republican Party be the guardians of this Constitution. That must be their number one task for our future generations. To protect this Constitution. And I'd like to pay special tribute to someone who isn't here today, Senator Ted Cruz. Because, that's right, he's our boy. He has stood up when he even had to stand alone. But he wasn't really alone, because millions of Americans were glued to their TV sets cheering him on. And that's what we need to do. I also urge you to choose a president who will stand up to the spendaholics in Washington. That's what they are, addicts. Under the Obama administration, these big spenders have driven federal spending as high as 23% of GDP. Then when you add in state government spending and local spending, you have governments spending 40% of GDP, almost half, 40%. 40% of everything all of us produce going to work every day. 40% of the fruits of our labor. Do you get 40% of your happiness from government? Only once before in all of American history did government suck up 40% of everything we produce going to work every day. And that was in the midst of World War II, when we were fighting for our survival as a nation. Nothing justifies that today.
Hear, hear.
Thank you. And once we rein in the spending, we can eliminate the estate tax. We can lower the corporate income tax so that businesses will want to come to the United States again. And we can reduce and simplify the personal income tax. And the goal? Freedom. Because freedom is more money in your pocket. Take home pay. That's what Americans want. Now Hillary Clinton is going to roll out lots of new government programs for the middle class. We don't want more government programs, right? We want the money in our own pockets. We're starting our own ourselves. Despite the claims of the Obama administration, and I won't mention him again because he's history. He's almost gone and he will be judged very badly by history. But the fact is, growth in our country during the Obama years has averaged 1.7%. That's less than half the norm for the last century, 3.8%. Can you imagine? Our economy is in low gear. It's like trying to travel across the country in second gear. You can't do it, right? Thirdly, I urge you to choose a president who is totally committed to fully repealing Obamacare. You hear the Washington insiders say, we're going to change it, we're going to amend it, we're going to tinker with it, we're going to improve it. No. They say that because they haven't read it, or they would know it is corrupt to the core. tinkering with it won't eliminate Section 1342, the bailouts to the insurance companies with your money at the end of each year. It won't eliminate your money being paid to these navigator groups. They just made another $231 million grant this week. You know who these navigator groups are? Planned Parenthood, the NAACP, the SEIU. These are the groups that get out the vote for Democrats. And now they're being funded by this law. Right? James Madison warned us in Federalist 62 never to allow Congress to pass a law, and these are his own words, so voluminous that no one can read it, or so constantly changed that the reasonable person doesn't know what the law is. That is Obamacare to a T. Congress should have taken this law, all 2,572 pages, and put it in the paper shredder and given us a 20-page bill in plain English that members of Congress would actually read before voting on it. The stakes are very high here. If you're seriously ill, the best place to be is in the United States. A woman diagnosed with breast cancer in the United States has nearly a 90% chance of surviving it. In Europe, her chances are less than 80%. She's twice as likely to die. And if someone in your family has an incurable illness, this is the nation of hope, where the cures are developed. Since 1950, the United States has won more Nobel Prizes in medicine than the entire rest of the world combined. That's why repealing this law is the fight of our lifetimes. So here's the agenda. Lowering the taxes, repealing Obamacare, restoring American leadership in the world, and most importantly, restoring American exceptionalism. The next president of the United States must believe in American exceptionalism with every fiber in his or her being. And with this platform, we can defeat Hillary Clinton and win back the White House in 2016. This is the fight we must win, because as everyone here knows, as we all believe together, freedom isn't free. It's up to you and me. Thank you.
Croc TV.